Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes. I wanted to jump on and do a recap of the Texas Longhorns' victory yesterday over ULM. That's the University of Louisiana Monroe. Texas beat them 51 to 3 yesterday, and it was Arch Manning's first start as QB1, filling in for injured Quinn Ewers. Um, He didn't play as well as I guarantee you much of the world thought he would play. He did not play up to the standard that we needed him to play yesterday. Even though we got a big victory and it's his first start, I got to remember he's just a red shirt freshman and that, he still got a lot of growing to do. Even though he's a Manning, he still got a lot of work to do. He was, he loved the long ball and he threw way too many deep passes for my liking. He actually went 15 for 29. That's a little over 50% for 258 yards, two touchdowns, and two interceptions. So he has a lot of growing to do. And I believe that we need Quinn Ewers back ASAP, Jack. Not that Arch Manning can't beat the Mississippi State Bulldogs next week, but I would like to see Quinn get back there because Quinn just brings so much to the game for us. Him being a 3-year starter, him knowing the system like the back of his hand, him having that intermediate game where he can throw the short routes, the medium routes. He can also throw the long ball, but he's not enamored with the long ball like Arch Manning was. Arch Manning wanted to throw the deep ball all day long. I think I counted maybe 7 or 8 deep balls yesterday, and we didn't need that against ULM. We really needed him to get his mid-range game together and throw those mid passes, instead of going to the long ball so much. But anyway, we got the victory. The defense dominated. And that kid, Anthony Hill, balled out. He got a sack. He almost had a pick six, but they called a block in the back on Trey Moore as he was taking it into the end zone. So we had got that touchdown called back. That would have been nice to see him get a pick six. But nevertheless, the penalty happened, so we didn't get that pick six. We got a big day offensively from Jaden Blue. We got our first 100-yard rusher of the season. He carried the ball 25 times, and that's a lot, for 124 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing, and also a receiving touchdown. So we have 4 touchdowns total. The offensive line played really, really well. We came out of this game with no major injuries. We rested Trey Quintravious is his real name. Wisner, we rested him, so he didn't play in that game as the backup running back. And then Jared Gibson, he got a little shooken up a little bit. I think his ankles got a little bit banged up. So hopefully, he'll get some therapy and stuff this week, and he'll be ready to go next week against Mississippi State. And then we'll get a bye after that before we go and play Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. So hopefully, those guys will get back and be 100% healthy by the time we play Oklahoma, who didn't look good, by the way, yesterday when they played Tennessee. Their defense is nice. I like their defense, but their offense sucks. But I'm not here to talk about Oklahoma. I'm here to talk about my Texas Longhorns. And the defense really played extremely well. They only gave up 111 yards total offense. That's amazing. And ULM only averaged 2.2 yards a play. That is incredible. And they were held to 7 first downs. And Texas offensively had 497 yards, 258 yards passing, and 239 yards rushing with a 100-yard rusher. We even had a backup walk on, had 10 carries for 60 yards in a cleanup duty in the fourth quarter. He ran the ball really hard. He ran the ball really, really well, and I was impressed with that. Back to Arch Manning, I really believe that Sark is going to coach him up and get him ready if he starts this game, and let him know that, listen, when we run the RPO game, it's okay to throw the short route. You ain't got to go to the deep route all the time. You can hit the short crosses, the short slants, those routes, so that we can continue to get first downs and move the ball. We really want to have 7 to 13 play drives where we take at least 5 to 6 minutes off the clock and get the touchdown. But there were times he threw in double and triple coverage. He threw 2 interceptions. One interception, you got to take a little bit of mustard off of it and throw it with some touch. Also with some velocity, but not too much velocity. And you can never throw high on a cross route or slant route, because if you throw high, if you miss high, it's getting intercepted 9 times out of 10. And the one he threw to Jalen Blue out the backfield, that was had too much mustard on it and it was high, so it ended up getting intercepted. And the first interception he threw on the first drive, he just threw into coverage that he should not have been thrown into. I thought he had a lot of outlet routes that he could have threw the ball to, so that we could have just kept the chains moving. But he was probably excited about throwing that deep ball, which he connected on a few of them. I think he had maybe 100 yards throwing the ball deep out of his 15 completions. But we can't have our quarterback going 15 for 29 for 200 and something yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. We can't beat the likes of Georgia, Oklahoma, teams like that with those kind of stats. So he has to take care of the ball better. And the thing that I think really probably made his game off a little bit was the fact that we couldn't afford to run him. We couldn't afford to run RPOs to where he was going to pull the ball and run, because otherwise we would have been down to technically our third string quarterback. So I knew that Coach Sarkisian was going to make sure that he didn't have him pulling the ball and running, because we just couldn't afford for him to get banged up, as well. So that probably threw him off a little bit on his timing and just getting into the flow of the game. But nonetheless, we got the win, 59-3. The defense, like I said earlier, played extremely well. We played a lot of players. So going into the second half of the season, we should be really, really strong at the 2 deep, and even in some positions at the 3 deep. We should be very, very effective. So when we get into those games that we need to have full strength in the fourth quarter, our first string will be well rested and they can come and carry us through that fourth quarter, which is probably the formula for all of the major colleges to have a chance to make it to the college football playoff. They have to have a 2 and 3 deep at every position in order to maintain the possibility of winning some of these games that they're going to play down the stretch. Because if you don't, you're in trouble in that fourth quarter. A team can just go ahead and take you out into the deep and drown you, because you don't have the players um, that you can rotate so that your players can stay fresh as possible. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today about the Texas Longhorns. I was glad they got the win, and they played really, really well overall. The defense I'm super excited about, because they played really, really well, and the offense, I know once Quinn Ewers get back, we'll be clicking on all cylinders, and we'll be able to move the ball like we have all season long. So, without anything further to say, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share our videos so that you can share them with your friends and family, and tell them to please, subscribe to the channel so we can grow this channel, so we can get it to the point where we can start, making more and more and more videos, having more and more guests on the show. So without anything else, hook 'em.